What you're going to learn by watching this video is how to take a high poly mesh and then use retopology techniques to make a low poly mesh. You're then going to learn how to UV unwrap your low poly retopology mesh, and then you're going to learn how to use normal maps, ambient occlusion maps, as well as diffuse maps to take the detail from your high poly mesh and then apply that to your low poly mesh. As I work my way through the tutorial, I try to not only explain what I'm doing, but why I'm doing what I'm doing. Thanks for watching this tutorial, and I hope that you enjoy it. Okay, I'm going to zoom back. What I'm going to do is I'm looking at this line here. I'm going to go to the upper left, go to edge select. I'm going to hold Alt, select here. What I'm going to do is mark this seam. Typically, when you mark seams, you're usually setting up for UV unwrapping. For here, I just want to make it easy to select everything above these pouches. I want to smooth these vertices out. However, I don't want to affect the pouches here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Control, press E, and then I'm going to select Mark Seam. And what this Mark Seam allows me to do is I can fairly easily select this, and then I can I think it's Shift H to hide everything but that. So now what I want to do is I'm going to hold Alt, select this, go to upper left edge select the center line. Now I'll go to vertex select, hold Control, press I, that inverts that selection. So I'm going to right click and then select smooth vertices, right click, smooth vertices again. Now I'll hold Alt, then press H to bring everything back. I did that because this was kind of bunched up. I did not want to smooth these pouches out. I wanted to smooth this area out, and I wanted to do that because I'm about to put on a shrink wrap modifier. What we can do is we're going to hold Alt, press A. I'm going to go to object mode, go to shrink, turn the snapping on, go back to edit mode. See these vertices here going in there. So I'm going to select here, here, as well as here, then press G to get them to snap. Go back to object mode, turn off snapping. Hold Alt, press A to deselect. Okay, I'm going to go to the upper left. I'm going to turn off this hidden wire. I already know that this top part is going to cause issues. So for now, we can bring this back later. I'll hold Shift. So I'm holding Shift and then Alt to select that. So what I'm going to do is move my mouse above this here. I'm going to press V to rip this. I'm also going to go to this transform and change this back to global. I'm going to go to the upper left, go to phase select. I'm going to hover here, then press L. I'm going to press X and then choose to delete the faces there. Okay, with that done, I'm going to go to the upper left, go to object mode. I'm going to turn on shrink wrap, go to duplicate. I see some bunching up still here. So let's see if I select here, hold Control, select here. Go to Loop Tools, select not Loop Tools, go to Vertex Select, Smooth Vertices, Smooth Vertices, And this I'll select here, hold control, select here. Then I'll press S to scale on the Z-axis 0. Huh, that didn't work. S to scale on the Z-axis 0 does not work. Interesting. So trying to adjust these some. So we'll hold Alt, press A to deselect. We'll go to the upper left, go to object mode. We have 2 shrink wraps on here. So the one will apply, leave the other one on. I mean, we'll keep it on, but we'll turn the effect of it off. We'll go back to left, then go back to edit mode. I'm going to zoom in. So yeah, this method, it's pretty effective, pretty quick. I actually learned this from watching one of Purik's time lapses. I'm going to select here. Hold shift, select here. Because the geometry is so simple, very easy to work with the, to work with the topology in general. So I'm selecting these 2 faces. Whoops, I lost one. So I'll select here, hold shift, select here, press F, select here, hold shift, select there, press F, select here, hold shift, select there, press F. So they're all joined together. I'll hold Alt, press A to deselect. Okay, I'm going to zoom in, hold shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. This part of the thumb, what you want to do is make 3 faces that cover this up. So I'm going to select here, hold control, and then I'm going to go to the poly build tool. I'm going to go to vertex select, and then what you want to do is left click a vertex, hold control, hold control first, then left click, then you can drag this face out. And the same thing again. So first you select the vertex, not holding anything. Now I'm holding control. Now I'm left clicking the left mouse button and I drag this out. So you want 3 faces that cover up that thumb area. I'm going to go to the tweak now. Make sure that thumb area is covered up well. Oh, I get it. Okay, so we don't have snapping. So I'm going to go to object mode, go to snapping. So now I'll select here, press G. When I select G, you want to aim to where you want this to snap to, like in the view, and then you press G, then this will snap. It's too far over there. I'll hold Alt, then press A to deselect. Okay, I'm going to hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm going to use the shortest path technique. I'm going to go to Edge select here. Then I'm going to hold Control and then select here. By holding Control, Blender selected the shortest path from here to here. So now with that there, I can press E to extrude, right click. I'll go to move and then move this up like this. I'll press S to scale this. I tried to scale that in, didn't work out so well. I'm gonna, no, sorry about that. I'm gonna select here, here, as well as here, then press F. I'm gonna go to the tweak tool and then drag this over. This, you wanna make sure you're aimed kind of where you want this to go. So I'll select here, move that, that'll snap just for me dragging it. So I'm moving these more to snap them than to move them. I'm going to select here, hold Control, shortest path technique. Move this up, move this out. Holding the middle mouse button to rotate back and forth. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to rotate the view. I want to focus just on the hand, so I'm going to hold Alt, press B, then draw this box to hide everything but the hand. Zoom in. So I'm going to select here. We're on vertex select when you look to the upper left. I'm going to hold Control. I use the shortest path technique, so I select it all the way from there to there. Okay, with that done, I'm going to press E to extrude, right click to bring this up like this. So here, I'm going to kind of aim this to where I want this to go because we have that snapping on. So when I press G, that'll snap. I'll grab here. I'm going to go to the tweak tool. Move this over like this. I'll hold Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. Okay, we see this face here, so we'll fill this in. I'll hold Shift. Press F to fill. I'll come to this side, select here. Then I'll press F to fill. Then I'll hold Alt, then press A to deselect. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to rotate the view. So you see that method fairly quick. I'm going to go to the upper left, go to object mode. I'm going to turn off the snap, back to edit mode. I'm going to hold Alt, select all of this here. We can see we have 20 vertices there. I'm going to press S and then Z, then 0. To flatten that out some. For here, I'm going to kind of aim where I want this to be at. Press G. Press G to get that to okay. Okay. Turn the snapping back on. So now G. G. There we go. I'm gonna hold Alt, press A. I'm then gonna press Alt B, yep, to bring everything else back. Okay, I'm gonna hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm gonna press when I'm gonna go to face select the whole mask there. I'm gonna right click and then select. Whoops, before I do that, I'm going to turn off snapping. I'm going to right click, select subdivide. And this gives us the detail that we need for a hand. However, we already, for the most part, got this place. So now what we can do is go to object mode. turn on our shrink wrap. Let's go back to edit mode, see what's going on here. So select that face, press X, and then I'll delete that face. I'll duplicate this and then apply the one. Okay, I'm going to go to the upper left, go to edit mode, zoom in. And this face is kind of strange. I'll select here, press X, delete these faces. Go to vertex, select, try to move that to the side. Should be able to hold control. Okay. I'm trying to match up this with there, so here, here, here. Should then be able to select there, then press F, F, F. Now it should be able to select here, 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 and then press F. Then I'll hold Alt, press A to deselect. Okay, I'm gonna click on the hand so I can rotate off of that. I'm gonna hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm gonna hold Alt, then left click. When we look at our statistics, we can see we have 40 vertices. That's a lot of vertices. I'm gonna hold Alt, then press A to deselect. The topology, my thoughts as I'm about to do this is mainly getting the hand low enough so I can connect it to the arm. Other thoughts are if you're working on a job and your job is doing retopology, I would recommend you do a more careful approach to this. However, if you're in a situation where you're responsible for possibly doing the concept art for something, doing the block out, doing the sculpting, doing the rigging, the texturing, as well as the animation, then I think this will work just fine for you. Once you have your hand connected, you can go back and adjust the geometry if you would like to adjust it more. For now, we're going to go to vertex select. I'm going to hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. We're looking at the area in between the fingers. We're going to select, I'm holding Shift, the sides, and then the center last while holding Shift. Press M, choose at center. Then these three that up here, we're doing the same thing. M at center. Same thing here. Here, area in between the fingers at center. M at center. Here again. M at center. Here again. M at center. Hold the middle mouse button to rotate the view. Looking for the area in between the fingers. Same thing. M at center. Here. M at center. Hold Control to zoom back. Okay, we're looking for this area in between the fingers, wide as it is apart from each other. We'll select that in the center, press M, choose at center. We select the center last, M at center. M M at center. M at center. So we'll hold Alt. We have 27 vertices still. Okay, I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to select these two, press M, choose at center. So we have 26. So what we can do now is a fairly quick way of, it's not too difficult to understand, is see these three faces here by selecting one and then pushing it down. So we would have 1, 2, 3, 4 vertices if this was a cross. Now we can select here and then press F. So now we have 1, 2. We take a space so they're not too close. Whoops, we won't. Push this down. Same thing. We'll hold Alt. We have 22. I'm gonna hold them in the mouse button, hold Alt, press A to deselect. Okay, I'm gonna hold Control. We're gonna do a similar thing here. We'll select here, push this down there, select here, here as well as here, press F to fill. We'll select here, push this down, oops, we'll select here. Press F to fill. This center line, you don't want to, you want to be able to have this center line so you can split the hand in half, like from the top from the bottom. So we look here, we have 18. I'm going to hold Alt, press A to deselect. Okay, we're going to go to our upper left, go to object mode. We're going to duplicate this modifier. We're going to apply the 1. We're going to go back to our upper left, go to edit mode. I'm going to, oops, I want to turn off this shrink wrap. Turn off, what it shows. I'm going to hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom back. I'm going to hold Alt, select here. I'm going to press E to extrude, right click. Bring this up. I want to flatten that out, so I'm going to press S to scale and a Z axis 0. It's an easy way to flatten things out. Right here, see how that's pushing in, so I'll move this up higher like that. I'm going to hold the mouse button to rotate. I'm going to right click, go to Loop Tools. This Loop Tools is an add-on that comes default in Blender. If you go to Edit User Preferences Add-ons, put a check mark next to Loop Tools, you'll be able to see this. I'm going to select Circle. You could manually make a circle. I'm just using the add-on to do it. When I made this circle, I held Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm going to press Y to rotate on the Z axis. There we go. To straighten that out like that. So with that done, I'm going to hold Control, press F, and then select Grid Fill. I don't like how this is rotated, so I'm going to go to Offset and then select Offset like this. So I like how that is there. I'm going to go to Face Select, hold Alt, press A to deselect. Okay, if I go to Edge Select and I hold Alt, I select here, we can see this has 9 vertices. We want 10. I'm going to hold Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan down. I'm going to hover here, hold Control, press R, then left click once. Left click a second time to lock that in. So now there should be 10 vertices. That loop cut really doesn't do much to change our geometry. So when I hold Alt, you can see there's 10 now. So now what I want is I went to face select on upper left. I want 4 faces here. So I'll pull this up like this. These 4 faces will give me 10 vertices to match the 10 vertices there. So I'll right click, go to loop tools, and then I'll select circle. Then I'll press X to bring up our delete menu. Choose to delete the faces. Go to edge select. Hold Alt. Hold Shift while holding Alt. Select here. Hold Control. Press E. This brings up our bridges, our edges menu. I'm going to select Bridge Edge Loops. So now our hand is connected. I'm going to hold Control. Press R. Roll the mouse 1 time. Left click once. Left click a second time to lock that in. Hold Alt, press A to deselect. Then I'm going to go to the upper left, go to object mode, turn on shrink wrap, duplicate this, click the arrow, select apply, then turn that off, then go back to the upper left, then go to edit mode. Okay, what we're going to do is zoom back. I'm going to hold shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to go to the modifier tab, temporarily turn off the mirror modifier. I'm on edge select, I held Alt, dragging this to the side slightly. I'm going to turn the mirror modifier back on, push this towards itself. There was some weirdness going on with the straight lines there. I'm going to hold Alt, then press A to deselect. Okay, what we're going to do now is I'm going to hold Alt, left click here. And I press E to extrude, right click. Move this up like that. Push this forward like that. Push this towards itself. Be careful of the center line. I'm going to press S to scale and Z axis 0 like that. Push this down. I'm going to right click, go to loop tool, select circle. Press R to rotate on the X axis like this. Careful of that center line. Front there. Select here. Push this over. I'll hold Alt to select that line. Press S to scale. Press R to rotate on the X axis like this. That forward some, up some. And push this down. I'm going to press E to extrude, right click. Up, forward, like that. I'll hold Alt, press A to deselect. Okay, what I'm going to do now is go to the upper left, go to wireframe, whoops, hidden wireframe, there we go. Turn off the mirror modifier. I'm going to select here, hold Control, then select here. Press O to turn on proportional editing. Pull that to the side. I'll hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. Be careful about these lines here. So now I'm pulling these both to the side. I'm going to press R to rotate on the, is it Y? Yep. Y axis. This line's up there. I'm going to be careful about. I'm going to hold Shift. Basically what I'm trying to do is line this line up with here. I press. I rolled my mouse to increase the size of the proportional editing tool, or rotate on the y-axis. I did that so these lines will be pushed out to the side there. Press R to rotate on the y-axis there. I'm trying to get this line to go on top, and the reason why, see how this is going in here? I want this line to sit here. Oh, wait a second. Okay, so I want this line to sit here, or to rotate on the y-axis. This line here. Line, what I mean is edge, or to rotate on the y-axis. Want this to go out like that, or to rotate on the y-axis. Control, I'll press O to turn off the proportional editing tool, press G. Press O to turn that back on, that being the proportional editing tool. Okay, I'm going to hold Alt, then press A to deselect. I'm going to turn off this hidden wire. Okay, I'm going to turn the mirror modifier back on. I'm going to select this line here. Hold Control. I'm going to turn off the proportional editing tool by pressing O. There we go. All right, pushing that towards the center. I'll move this out. This. I'll hold Alt, press A to deselect. Okay, I'm going to turn on snapping. So I'll select here, hold Control, use the shortest path technique. I switch to go to upper left, go to vertex, select and press G. See how this is now coming out. Okay. I'm going to hover here, hold Control, press R, left click once. Because I left click once, I can move this loop cut. I'm putting this here so there's geometry so that this can go in here. So I'll select here, hold Control, select here, then press G. So now we have this here. And take the tweak tool to adjust some of these vertices. I'll hold Alt, then press A to deselect. Okay, I'm going to hold the mouse button to rotate the view. Hold Shift, press B to zoom in here. Hold Shift, press B to zoom in again. See this right here? I'm going to hold Control, press R, left click once, move this loop cut, left click second time to lock that in. I want to put a loop cut here, so I'm going to hold Control, press R, left click a second time. Or actually, it's the first time now. There's a second time. Then I'm going to hold Alt, then press A to deselect. Okay. I'm going to go here. Click to turn this on. I'm going to hold here, Alt, these vertices bunched up there. So I'm going to right click, go to Loop Tools, go to Space. Space again. That doesn't look like it did anything. Then relax. Try relax again. Hold Alt, right click, Loop Tools, Space. Right click. Relax. Does look like that helps some. Holding shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. Things like this, I'm going to press C. See the bunch up there? I'm going to right click and then select smooth vertices. Didn't quite work out how I wanted it to. I'm going to hold Alt. Right click, loop tools, space, loop tools, relax. The tweak tool, oh, I say, be careful because the shrink wrap is on. I'm gonna hold control, press R. Oops, I didn't hold control, press R. There we go. Put another loop cut in. Select here. Press G. See if we can put another loop cut here. I'll zoom back. I'm gonna duplicate this loop, this shrink wrap modifier, and then I have to go to object mode. Apply that. Back to edit mode. I tried to smooth these vertices. Looks like I did a pretty good job. I'm going to hold Alt, press A to deselect. I have the tweak tool on, so this should allow me to fairly easily manipulate these vertices here. See this edge here? See how the vertice is there? So I'm pulling this down like that. This down like that. The tweak tool allows me to move without being concerned about the axes. Pretty useful. So I'm taking these vertices, pushing them up towards the corners. I'll hold Alt, press A to deselect. I'm holding the middle mouse button. Rotate. Similar. This here. Adjusting these vertices. Hold Alt, press A to deselect. I'll hold the middle mouse button to rotate the view. See this here. Oh, similar thing. Grab here. Pull these towards this edge here. I'm rotating the view to get like a 3D look here. That's why I'm rotating the view like that. I'm going to hold Alt, press A to deselect. We could use a loop here. press Control R. It's going all over the place. These here. Hold Alt. So with this, whoops. Stick to here. So it'll work from this side. You start having issues like there, what you can do is turn off the mirror to see better. Pressing G to get these to snap here. That's what I'm doing. It's like this. Press G. I'll turn the mirror back on. Hold Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. Okay, I'm gonna hold Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. I go to Edge Select. I'm looking like this is like the center going up the leg here, so I'm going to this side. I'm gonna hold Control. And then what I'm gonna do is go 1, 2, 3, 4 on the top of here. I held the middle mouse button so I can see towards the front. And I'm going to do 1, 2 for the front. So when I'm saying 2, I mean faces. Okay, I hit that home button, it zoomed out. Actually didn't know that the home button did that. Could be useful. Zooming back in, going to the front here, or the side here. Hold Shift as well as middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to select this edge here, or I selected that edge there. Okay, from here I want 5 faces, so I'm holding Control. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold Alt, then press A to deselect. Okay, I'm going to hold them in the mouse button, looking towards the center here. I'm going to select here. I want there to be 4 faces coming down. So I'm going to hold Control, then 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm going to hold them in the mouse button. So I selected here. I'm holding Shift. I'm selecting here. I'm going to press F to fill. The tweak tool onto this allows me to work without being too concerned about vertices. So here what I'm going to do is go to vertex select. I'm going to hold Control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. So I'm looking here, so I'm going to select here, hold Control. Holding Control to come down to here. So now I'll go to Edge Select. I'll select here. The F2 add-on allows me to just press F, fill that in, which is very nice. I'll hold Alt and press A to deselect. Okay, I'm going to go back towards the front. I'll go to vertex select. I'm gonna select here, very similar to what we just did, hold control. I'm looking to match up the vertices to the vertices that are right next to there. I'll go to edge select, select this, there we go, right here, top edge, then press F, 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 F. Excellent. I'll hold Alt, then press A to deselect. I'm going to hold the mouse button. I'm going to select here. I'm going to go hold control, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I let go to rotate the middle mouse button. I'm holding shift. Then I'll press F to fill. And I'll hold Alt, then press A to deselect. Reason why I was counting is because I want this to basically be the same on this side that's on that side. Okay, here I'm going to actually over here, I'm going to select here, right click, same thing here. I'm looking to match up the vertices there. Hold shift, press F. I'll put a loop cut here, hold control, press R. I'll select here, press F. Then I'll go to edge select, select here, press F, 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 F. I'm going to go to the upper right, turn off hidden wire to better see what's going on. Holding the middle mouse button, taking a look. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button, look this way, go to vertex select, select here, hold control, hold shift, and then press F. Here, hold control. Holding control is allowing me to extrude a vertex. Holding shift and then pressing F. I'm going to go to edge select, select here, then press F, F, F. Rotate just so I could see, F. Hold the middle mouse button to rotate, F, F. I'll hold Alt, then press A to deselect. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to rotate, hold shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to hover here, hold control, press R to put a loop cut in, left click once, left click a second time to lock that in. I'll hold Alt, press A to deselect. Hold the middle mouse button to pan. Select here. So what I'm going to do now is go to vertex select, select here, hold control. I'm matching up the vertices as I go along. Like I'm looking here basically. I'm going to go to edge select, select here. Oop, I didn't select the edge. Select here as well as here as well as here. Press F to fill. Now that I have that, I think that I can select here and then press F, F. Excellent. I'll hold Alt, then press A to deselect. Okay, I'm going to hover here, hold control, press R. For this, I'm going to go select here, hold control. There we go. To go forward like that. When I select here, here, here as well as here, then press F to fill. When I select here, here as well as here, then press F to fill. I think with that now I can select here and then press F, F, F. Excellent. I'll hold Alt to press hold Alt, press A to try to deselect anything that may have been selected previously. I'm going to hold the mouse button to rotate the view. I select here, press F, F. Hovering here, holding control, left clicking. F, 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 F. I'll hold Alt, press A to deselect. I'm going to hold Alt, select there, then press F to fill, then hold Alt, then press A to deselect. I'm going to hold the mouse button, rotate the view. I select here, pull this forward. Select here, pull that forward there. What I'm looking here is looking at how things are set up here. So I'm going to click here, hold control, and see this that goes here. I'm looking at that there. So I'm going to hold control, hold shift, press F to fill. I'm going to go to edge select here, here as well as here, then press F, fill there. I'll select here, press F. Excellent. I'll hold Alt, then press A to deselect. I'm going to hold the mouse button. I'm going to vertex select. Select here, hold control. I'm looking there. Control, control. Selecting here. Very similar. I'm going to go to edge select there, press F, select there, press F, select here, press F, F. I'll put a loop cut here to match up. Another one here. Select there. Press F. One here. Press F. I'll hold Alt. Press A to deselect. I'm going to hold the mouse button, rotate the view. Okay, I'm going to select here. Hold Shift. Here, press F, I'll select here, press F, F, F. So here what I'm going to do is I click here, hold control, hold shift, press F. Hold Control, press R. Press F. Hold up, press A to deselect. Zoom back this side. And delete that face. So I'll select here, here as well as here. Press F. Looking here, trying to figure out how I can make this a quad. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is come here. So I'm going to go to face select, press X, delete that face. I'm going to go here. Select here as well as here, press F to fill. Select here. Press X, delete faces. I'll select here, here, here. Press F to fill. And then I'll go to here, right click, go back to the upper left to edge select, select here, press F to fill, select here, F to fill, then hold Alt, press A to deselect. Okay, what I'm going to do now is with edge select on is I'm going to hold Alt, select here, hold Control, press F. This brings up our faces menu. I'm going to select grid fill. We're going to go to a span of 2, an offset of 3. If this doesn't look, how you like here, you can adjust this to make this, more to your liking. I'm going to go to the upper left, go to vertex select, slide this vertex down. So hold Alt, press A to deselect. Okay, we're going to roll the mouse wheel, zoom back. It's this here looks strange, so we're going to turn off mirror. We're going to duplicate shrink wrap, apply, go to object mode. Nope. Apply the one shrink wrap, back to edit mode. Hold the mouse button to rotate the view. Okay, I'm going to zoom in. This can be difficult to see, so what I'm going to do is go to the upper left, turn on hidden wire. I'm going to use edge select since the vertices can be hard to grab. So see these strings there, so I'm lining. I want the one, okay, maybe that, oh, there we go. Okay, I want the one edge. I'll line it up here. I'll press G to get it to stick to there. Coming out to check to see how this, looks. This looks strange. So I'll select, I'll press G, select G. Go to vertex select. Edge select. So yeah, by selecting the edge, I was able to pop this geometry out somewhat. I'll go back to the hidden wire. Drag this here. Drag that down like that. There we go, much better. So back, hold up, press A. Go back to object mode, turn mirror on. There's still, this side looks kind of strange. So when we look at this side, this looks strange, right? So one of the things we can do is duplicate the shrink wrap, move the shrink wrap above the mirror, turn the one underneath off. The one above it will apply the shrink wrap. Take that one off. Okay, one issue that we have is when we look here, this is actually slightly off. When I say off, this isn't exactly the same as that side. So what we can do is go to our body retopology, hide that, select here, go to the upper left, go to scope mode. And what we want is this side to be mirrored to this side, right? So to do that, what you can do is go to Tool, down to Symmetry. Then when you see this direction X minus X to plus X, you want to select the arrow and go plus X to minus X, then select Symmetricize. So now this is equal on both sides. So we'll go back to the upper left, then back to object mode. We'll then unhide our body retopology. Okay, so what we're going to do now is go to edit mode, make sure that things like this are connected. For our mirror, these vertices here are very bunched up, so we'll click here. We'll hold Control. That does the shortest path technique. I'm going to go to move for this. Move this over. I'll go back to the tweak tool, adjust this here, go back towards the front. I'm going to hold Alt, press A to deselect. I zoom in, hold Shift, push this towards itself. Same thing there. We'll zoom back. Hold Shift as well as the middle mouse button up. Pan, we'll hold Alt, press A to deselect. We'll zoom in. I'm going to hold Alt, press R, just so that's not such a big area with the geometry there as far as the faces. I'll hold Alt, press A to deselect. Okay, what I'm going to do now is press C for paint select. Zoom in, areas that look like they're bunched up, I'll press C for paint select. Select those areas. Then I'll right click, go to smooth vertices. Oops, there we go. Yeah, it's much easier to see like this. Smooth vertices. It's interesting. There we go. The tweak tool. Yeah. Does not want me to select the one vertice for whatever reason. I'm trying to even these vertices out some. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to hold Alt. I'm going to right click, select smooth vertices, right click, smooth vertices, select here, right click, smooth vertices, right click, smooth vertices. I'm going to hold Alt, then press A to deselect. Okay, what we're going to do now is start putting in seams. So it's a good, let's see this here. It's good to put seams in where seams tend to fall on clothes already. So I'm going to hold Alt, select here, hold Control, press E. This brings up our edges menu. I'm then going to select Mark Seam. select here, hold Control, press E, select mark seam, hold Alt, press E to deselect. I'm going to zoom back. I'm going to hold Alt. I'm going to hold Alt, press A to deselect. I'll hold Alt, select here. I'm going to press C to deselect these lines going up most of the middle there. I'm going to hold Control, press E, select mark seam, hold the mouse button to rotate the view, hold Alt A to deselect. I'm going to hold the mouse button to rotate the view. I'm going to go to Edge Select, select, oh, Edge Select, there we go. Select here, go from there. I'm going to hold Control to use the shortest path technique, select there. So with the seam there, I'll hold Control, press E, select mark seam. I'll hold Alt, press A to deselect. I'm going to hold Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to hold Alt, select here, hold Control, press E, select mark seam. I'm going to hold Alt, hold Shift as well as Alt, hold Control, press E, select mark seam, hold the middle mouse button to rotate the view. I'm going to select here, there, hold Control. I use the shortest path technique to do that. I'll hold Control, press E, select mark seam, hold Alt, press A to deselect. I'll hold the middle mouse button to rotate the view. I'm going to hold Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to go to the midway point for the hand, hold Alt, hold Control, press E, select mark seams, hold Alt, press A to deselect. Okay, and the hands, I'm going to zoom in. Let's see, can I hold Alt? I'm going to hold Shift. I'm going to mark this seam, hold Control, press E, select mark seam. I'm going to hold Alt, select here, hold Control, press E, and select clear seam. Then hold Alt, press A to deselect. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel to zoom back, zoom in, hold Alt, select here, hold Shift. Yeah, there we go. Not that. So I'm holding Shift, that's allowing me to not lose the seam. I'm going to hold Control, press E, select mark seam, hold Alt, press A to deselect. I'm going to zoom in towards the hand. We need to select here, as well as here, as well as here. I'm going to hold Shift, select there as well as here. I'm going to hold Control, press E, select mark seam. Then I'm going to hold Alt, press A to deselect. Okay, we're going to join the head retopology to the body retopology. It's pretty easy to do. We're going to go to the upper left, go to object mode, select the head, go to the modifiers, take off the mirror modifier. We did that because when we join this head to the body retopology, it will acquire the mirror retopology from the body. So I'll rotate. You can see there's half the head. I'm going to hold Shift, select the body, hold Control, then press J. So now the head retopology and the body retopology are now one mesh. Okay, so we're going to go to the upper left, go to edit mode. So even though they're one mesh, they're not joined together. So if I hold Alt and then select the edge around the head, you can see there's 9 vertices selected. If I select the neck, There's 18 vertices selected, so that is an issue. So let's try to lower that. It's one easy way we can do this. Fairly easy is what we did before with the when we're connecting the hands. We'll pull this down. Select here. Press F to fill. Push this down. Select there as well as there. Press F to fill. I'm going to hold Alt, press A to deselect. Okay, when I hold Alt, then select here now, we have 14 vertices. So we'll go here. Go here. Push down. Press F. Then we'll left click on nothingness. Try to deselect, hold Alt. 12 vertices. We need 9. Hold Alt, press A to deselect. I'm going to hold them in the mouse button. I'm going to hold Control as well as the mouse button to zoom in. We'll select here. Push this down. Go to the upper left to vertex select. Select here. Hold Shift. Press D to duplicate. Push this over. Select here, 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 as well as here. Press F to fill. Select this. Push this towards itself. Now when I hold Alt, we have, whoops, I'll go to Edge Select. We have 11 vertices. So I'll hold them in the mouse button to rotate the view. I'll hold Alt, press A to deselect. When I zoom in, go to the ear. When I hold Alt, we have 9 vertices. We're going to put in 2 loop cuts. I'm going to hold Control, put in a loop cut there. I'm going to hold left click. I'm going to hold Control. What's going on here? There we go. Putting a loop cut there. So now I'm going to hold Alt. This has 11. This has 11, so when you look there, you see 22. I'm going to hold Control, press E, and then select Bridge Edge Loops. Then I'm going to hold Alt, then press A to deselect. I'm going to zoom back. So now the head is actually connected to the body. So I'm going to select here now. Holding Control, so I'm using the shortest path technique. Then I'm going to hold Shift. I'm going to hold Control, press E, then select Mark Seam. I'm going to select here, hold Control, hold Shift, hold Control, press E, select Mark Seam. Looks like this isn't together, so I'm selecting this to pull apart to make sure that that's together. I was putting in a mark seam. I was looking at the bridge edge loop. It's a mark seam that you wanted to do. I'm going to hold Shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. I go here, hold Alt, Shift Alt. I'm going to hold Control, press E, select Mark Seam. I'm going to select here, hold Alt, hold Shift, hold Alt, Shift I'm holding now. I'm going to hold Control, press E, select Mark Seam. Hold Alt, press A to deselect. Hold the mouse button to rotate the view. Hold the mouse button to rotate the view. I'm going to select here. Press E. Yeah, I'll select here as well. I'm going to hold Control, press E, select Mark Seam. Go here. Hold Control, press E, select Mark Seam. Hold Alt, press A to deselect. Roll the mouse wheel to zoom back. Places of putting the purpose of putting seams in is to try to lay out 3D geometry like it's flat. I'm gonna hold Alt. Where there's seams at, you really shouldn't be too concerned about seams being there where there's clothing there, or like a natural seam from the clothing or whatever they're wearing as far as clothes. I'm gonna hold Control, press E, select Mark Seam, and then I'm gonna left click to deselect. I'm gonna hold Alt, press A to totally try to deselect, make sure nothing's selected. Okay, I'm gonna go to the upper left, go to Object Mode. I'm gonna right click on the body, select Shade Smooth. This cube .008 is our Ninja mask. So I'm naming that. This cube .004 is the lower fairly high poly, but not as high as the main high poly. We use this to put our topology over. I'm gonna hide that for now. Our Ninja hood. So I'll hide that for now. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to select our retopology body mesh. I'm going to go to these tab at the top that says UV editing. I'm going to press go to face select. Over here for UV, I'm going to put a check mark next to live unwrap. I'm going to put a check mark or click this so that whatever we do here is reflected in what we do over here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press A to select everything. I'm then going to press U and select unwrap. So here's all of our unwrapped pieces here. I'm now going to go to new. I'm going to name this normal. I'm going to change the width to 20.48. Change the height to 20.48. Press enter. For this, where it says blank, I'm going to select UV grid. The reason why we're doing this is so we can see how our UV grid is laid out. So I'm going to select OK. And what I want to do is I'm going to go to Image, Save As, and then I'm going to make a folder. Name this Textures. I'm going to double click to go in that folder. This is normal. It's fine. We'll keep it that for now. It'll probably stay being named normal or normal. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to go to shading. hide the Ninja mask, hide the main head. So what we want here is we're going to select new, then we're going to go add texture, image texture. If we click this arrow most of the time, there'll be, yeah, I think that's it, but we'll go to open anyway. Here's our textures. We'll select normal, open, and we'll go from color, whoops, so we can see what's going on. Move this up, color to base color. And now we can see this UV grid here. We'll go back to layout. We'll select the viewport shading. I'll zoom the mouse, roll the mouse to zoom back. Okay, I'm rolling the mouse to zoom in. Basically what we're looking for here is to have the squares basically be the same size, which they are for the most part. So that's looking good. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in. Small strangeness here. Let's go to scope mode. I'm gonna hold shift. That smoothed that out. I just held shift. When you hold shift, you activate the smooth brush, and that seems to have fixed that. Go back to object mode, back to edit mode. Wow, it's very effective. Roll the mouse button to zoom back, holding shift as well as the middle mouse button to pan. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to switch from Eevee to cycles to bake our normal map. So I'm going to click here, go to cycles. I have a NVIDIA GPU. This computer is a 1070, so I'm going to click here and change this to GPU. This will make things run faster. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is scroll down the button. It looks like a camera. So I'm looking for bake. So here's bake. And what I want to do is I'm going to go to the upper middle of the screen. I'm going to go to shading. Here in shading, I have this normal. And what I want to do is I actually want to select the camera, go to bake. This is very important. Do not miss this step. See the bake type? I'm going to change this from combined to normal. And then I'm going to scroll down. You want to make sure you have a check mark next to selected to active. This is also very important. This extrusion, I'm going to set this to 0.5. Then the max ray type, I'm going to set this to 0.5. This basically deals with the overlap between your low poly retopology mesh as well as your a high poly mesh. This is something else that's very important. You want to uncheck your normal image texture. So this needs to be unchecked. And then what you want to do is you want to go to your high poly. So I have this normal here, right? So this cube 3 is the high poly mesh. You can actually see it there. See how I don't have the head when I unhide the, so we need the head as well. That's the main head mesh. And then we also need the Ninja mask, right? So what you want to do is select everything before you select a low poly mesh, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the body retopology. I'm going to go to, it looks like this filter. I'm going to click here. I'm going to select this, looks like an arrow. What that's going to do is make it so I can't select the retopology. And that's going to allow me to select the high poly as well as the Ninja mask as well as the high poly head. I was holding shift while I did all that. I'm letting go of shift. I'm now going to activate this so now I can select the retopology mesh, and now I'm holding shift again. I'm going to click on the retopology mesh last. So with all of those things done, with these settings here and with that set up, now I'm going to select normal here. This is important. This needs to be selected. Okay, before we bake, we want to go to layout. I'm going to hide the main head, hide the ninja mask, and basically what's going on, if you look at this side, see how this is, like the clothing's over this, see how there's white here. The sculpt, the high poly sculpt is off a little. There's an easy way to fix this. So what we're going to do is we're going to select normal, or select the high poly sculpt. We're going to go to sculpt mode. I'm going to hide the body retopology, and then you're going to look to symmetry. Sorry, and then where you see this direction, you want this to be plus X to minus X. By default, it's minus X to plus X. This is what you want. With that setting there, you want to select symmetricize. There we go. Excellent. So I'll bring back the body retopology. You can see this matches much better now. I'll go back to object mode. Go back to shading. Okay, so we are going to have to select again. So I'm going to deselect, make this so you can't select this again. I'm going to bring back the main head mesh, the main ninja mask. So we'll select the main head mesh, hold shift, select the main ninja mask, select the high poly body, let go of shift, turn the ability back on for the body retopology, hold shift again, select that, and then with things selected in that order and with the normal selected, not connected to here, we are now prepared to bake. Okay, we're not quite prepared to bake yet. We do have to do one thing beforehand. So what we're going to do is go to layout, and what we need to do is we need to, well, there's a few things we need to do. It's quick. We'll select our body retopology mesh. We will hide the high poly mesh. Go to edit mode. We'll go to the outliner view. We'll take away the check mark next to hidden wire. What we're going to do is put a seam here, not to for UVs, but however, just for quick selection. So I'm going to hold Alt, hold Shift, and Alt. Just have that seam around the head. So with that seam there, I'm going to hold Control, press E. This brings up our edges menu. We'll select Mark Seam. I'll hold Alt, then press A to deselect. Okay, so what we're going to do now is go to Face Select. We're going to hover over the face, press L to select the head. Then we're going to go to the lower right. We're going to go to what looks like the triangle. We're going to go to our vertex groups. We're going to select plus. We're going to see group pop up. We're going to double click there. We're going to name this head. Press enter. Then we're going to click assign. Okay, we're going to hold Alt, press A. We're going to go to the upper left to go to object mode. When we do retopology, we try to make the low poly mesh be as close as possible to the high poly mesh. We adjusted the high poly mesh. So now we want to put a shrink wrap modifier to make this be even closer to the high poly mesh. So we're going to bring back the high poly mesh with the body retopology selected, which it currently is. We're going to go to the wrench. We're going to add a shrink wrap modifier. For the shrink wrap modifier, what we want to do is we're going to go to vertex group. We're going to say focus on the head, and then we're going to say do everything but focus on the head as far as applying a shrink wrap modifier by clicking this button here, which is the invert button. Now we're going to go to the target, select the high poly mesh, and then we're going to apply that. Okay, now with that done, we'll go back to shading. We'll bring back the main head as well as the ninja mask. We'll take away the ability to select the retopology by selecting this arrow right here. We're doing that so we can select the things in order. So we'll select first the head. We'll hold shift, select the mask, select the high poly body. Let go of shift, go back to the body retopology, give it the ability to be selected again, hold down shift again, and then select the low poly retopology. And then with all of that done, with this selected here, now we can look to the normal, everything is set up, and then we'll select bake. So Blender is going through the process of baking now. Okay, so now we have our normal image here. We'll go to these three lines. We'll go to image. Then we'll select save as. These are from work that I was doing before. We'll click normal or save as normal. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to bake an ambient occlusion since everything's already set up for it, as well as with a slight change, we'll bake a diffuse as well. To get the images that you may have seen when I opened the image up, if you go to UV editing, and then you go to image, you can click new. You would click AO 2048, click OK. Then you would go to image, save as AO. You will come back, go to image, name this diffuse, change this to 2048, click OK. Then you would go to image and then save as diffuse. I just didn't want you to not know. So hopefully that explanation, if you're not sure about how to get the image, that tells you. So we're going to go back to shading with that being said. And with everything set up pretty much the same, I'm going to click here, select AO, and then I'm going to change the bake type from normal, and that AO stands for ambient occlusion. And then I'm going to select bake. Blender is going through its process. It's baking process. Okay, so here's our ambient occlusion. So we're going to click the lines there, go to image, save as AO, save as image. So now what we're going to do is go to diffuse, open that. We're going to change this from ambient occlusion to diffuse. Now, what we are going to change here is we're going to take away this check mark next to direct and then indirect. As far as I know, this is direct light and then indirect light. This is going to give us just the color. So this will allow us to transfer the color that we had on our high poly to the low poly. So with this selected, or with these changes done, we're going to select bake. Blender's going through its baking process. Still going through its baking process. Okay, so now we have our diffuse colors. We'll click on these lines. We'll go to image, save as, select diffuse, and then select save as image. Okay, now we shouldn't need our high poly body anymore, or our high poly head, or our high poly ninja mask. So what we want to do is we're going to change this to, we click the folder there to normal. Where this color space is at, we want to change this to non-color. You're going to go to add vector. There's going to be normal map. You want the normal map. You're going to go from color to color. And then on the principal shader, you're going to go from normal to normal. And then you can see that I'm holding shift as well as the middle mouse button. Hopefully you can see our low poly now has the look of the geometry of our high poly mesh. Okay, with that done, what we're going to do is scroll down. We're going to go to add texture, image texture. We're going to go to open, textures, diffuse, open. Then we're going to go from color to base color. Okay, hopefully you can see our colors from our high poly mesh transferred over. Where the ambient occlusion comes in is if we take our diffuse mesh, I'm going to click here, I'm going to right click, I'm going to go to open with GIMP, which we've used before. So here's GIMP. Now I'm going to go to, well, duplicate this layer. Now I'm going to go to File, Open as Layer, Ambient Occlusion, and then click Open. So here's the ambient occlusion. You can see that's right on top of this mesh. If I take this mesh and this layer, I'm going to right click that, duplicate that layer, hide the one layer. If I change this to, is it soft light? Let's see. Hard light, no. Soft light, I'll take down the opacity. This gives me some texture. What I'm going to do is go to Layer, New from Visible, duplicate that. I'm going to go to Filters, Blur, Gaussian Blur. Take this up. About 4.5. Click OK. So what I'll do is I'll go File, export as. I'll name this diffuse AO. Export. Export. And what this does is this will give me another option to use. So we have these base colors. However, now I can come in and select this diffuse AO. And you can see it definitely, you can play with that more. It definitely adds more character to it. It can be played with more. Looks off in some ways. You could go paint the regular diffuse as well. To clean this up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to unhide the Ninja hood. And basically what we have here, I'll go to layout. Okay, so basically what we have here with this is we're reading right now at 26,000 triangles. If we look at the edit mode, we can see here is the topology. So this is a fairly low poly character. That has most of the detail of the high poly character. I go back to shading. Yeah, you can play with that. The shading between the both of them. Okay guys, that's it for that tutorial. I hope you learned some techniques from this that you could apply to this character here or other characters that you may be working with. For all of those of you out there who like as well as share the videos on this channel, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And for those of you who are new to this channel, if you like the videos on this channel and you would like to see more, please subscribe and thank you for viewing.